What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video here. Happy Wednesday. It is May 21st. We're going to be hanging out doing our ESPN Wednesday night live mock draft. I see a few of you guys in this mock as well. I see Tony sliding in at pick number 3, and then I did see Aiden at pick number 6. We're drafting from the 2 spot in today. And again, this is a 12-team full PPR. And Aiden says they moved Gibbs' ranking. Not nice, ESPN. So not sure where he was ranked before. When I put Saquon Barkley as the thumbnail for this video, I thought he was going to be the number 2 ranked player. But they got Bijan here ranked number 2. So I might just stick to the rankings and grab Bijan here at number 2. Again, we're expecting Jamar Chase to go the 101 in pretty much almost any draft that you're going to be doing this summer and into the August month for drafting. But you really can't go wrong at pick number 2. You can go Bijan, you can go Justin Jefferson, you can go Jahmyr Gibbs, Saquon Barkley. Even, if you are interested in Saquon Barkley, I don't hate Saquon Barkley at the 102 either. And of course, Jamar Chase does go 101, and we're underway here. I'm gonna take Bijan Robinson. I'm actually very excited about what Bijan can do. I got 20 seconds here, and he ended the season like on a absolute tear. You can see the fantasy points: 31, 24, 24, 14, 20, and 25, all after his bye week here. So I think there's a really strong chance for Bijan to be the RB1 in 2025. I'm excited about Michael Penix and helping this offense, and Bijan just really flexed his muscle last year. A lot of receptions. He looked very good running the ball, and we like Atlanta's offensive line there as well. Tony grabbed Saquon Barkley, so we got Saquon at the 103. I think if you have the ability to pick your draft spot for this upcoming season, you want a top 5 spot. You really can't go wrong in the top 5. I think the decisions start to happen. I kind of like being in the top 5. I think I'm going to rank Gibbs and CeeDee Lamb over Justin Jefferson for me this year. But the decisions start to happen in this, the 6th, 7th, 8th spot. And it looks like Aiden here at the 106. We'll see what he grabs. He grabs Malik Neighbors. So interesting here. Malik Neighbors, the wide receiver 3 off the board. I'm into Malik Neighbors this year. I think last year his quarterback play was as bad as it gets. And I think he's going to get better quarterback play this year with Russell Wilson, Winston, and maybe we see Jackson Dart at the end of the year. So for me, though, I'm thinking CeeDee Lamb is wide receiver 2. I'm very interested in CeeDee Lamb. He was, I think, last year's number 1 player, and we need Dak to stay healthy. That's really it with CeeDee Lamb. But despite Dak not playing a lot of these games at the end of the year, CD still played pretty well with Cooper Rush for most of these games here. Only a couple bad games in there, but he's still one of the best receivers in the game. And we're getting into the end of round 1 here. Amon-Ra, a surefire top 5 wide receiver. I like Puka Nacua a lot. I do worry what happens with Devontae Adams being there. Maybe Puka is not as much of a target slob as he would have been with Cooper Kupp. I do think Devontae is a little bit more of a threat to steal some numbers from Puka. Ashton Genty, if I'm in the back end of round 1 and I get Ashton Genty, I'm feeling pretty good about that landing spot. I don't trust Christian McCaffrey this year. I mean, he burned me pretty bad last year in a few spots, and I just, if I get to that point, I'm probably not looking to click on Christian McCaffrey. I'm hoping Puka, Genty. I'm probably not going to – that's a tough one for me. Brock Bowers being the 12th overall pick in this draft, that's a tough click for me, man. I know he's the best tight end, but I just get a little bit nervous about picking a tight end here at 12. We see Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry go to start around 2. I like Devon Achane. This round 2 is shaping up to be a pretty good running back round. You can get Henry, Achane. I like Josh Jacobs here. Aiden grabs A.J. Brown to pair with his Malik Neighbors, so that's a really strong 1-2 punch at receiver. I like Bucky Irving in the round 2 range for running backs. We're almost up to pick here, and as I'm just kind of scanning the field, Jonathan Taylor's a good click. Trey McBride, I like clicking on Trey McBride in this range. I love Drake London. He's one of my favorite receiver clicks. And then I don't think you can go wrong with Jaden Daniels or maybe Josh Allen if you want a quarterback here. But I'm on the clock. I think Jonathan Taylor's a good pick this year, but we got Bijan Robinson. I think Drake London would have looked really, really nice on our team. But I'm going to go running back here to start my draft. I mean, I think if we can get Anthony Richardson to stay on the field, if not, Daniel Jones provides a capable backup. I think JT is going to continue to rack up a lot of numbers. And I mean, last year, I mean, his end of the season was nuts, 25, 27, and almost 40 fantasy points here against some bad teams at the end of the year. But we know that when JT's healthy, he's running for a lot of touches, a lot of yards. So we'll grab running back start. And now I don't know what to do. I don't have any wide receivers yet. I do like me some Ladd McConkey and Jackson Smith-Njigba here. I'm probably ranking those guys ahead of, T. Higgins and Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams. I mean, I don't want Drake London and Bijan Robinson on the same team, but I think they're both going to be great picks. I mean, London is only 24 years old, wide receiver 5 last year. Man, that's a really, really good wide receiver here. But I'm gonna reach a little bit. I'm gonna take Ladd McConkey. In my rankings, I'm probably gonna have Drake London higher. But we'll give Tony a bone here. We'll give Tony Drake London at the 303. And I take Ladd McConkey. And he's probably not, I mean, he was a wide receiver 1 technically last year, wide receiver 12. And it did take him a little bit of time to get heated up. I mean, after the bye week is kind of when he stepped into more targets and more of a feature role. But his end of the season caught my attention, double digits in 7 out of his last 7 games, a couple 100-yard games there. He caught 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to easily be 130, 140 targets for Justin Herbert this year. So he's kind of a cheap PPR wide receiver 1, which probably looks better as a wide receiver 2 in your lineup. But with my build here, we have Bijan, Jonathan Taylor, and now Ladd McConkey. So I like what we got there. Again, I really like Trey McBride in that range. I think Drake London's a great pick. I think round 3 is starting to look like a good quarterback round. I'm a little bit nervous about clicking Josh Allen that high, but he's going to continue to run for a lot of touchdowns. They need to get him a real wide receiver 1 weapon. I think Jaden Daniels and Jalen Hurts are both fine picks in this round as well. And yeah, the tush push is sticking around. I don't care either way. I don't love it as a football play. It's purely just a short yardage first down play. It's not an explosive play or anything. It does annoy me, like when you see the Eagles run it, 4, 5, 6 times in a game. It does kind of annoy you a little bit, but I could go either way with it. Teams need to figure out how to stop it. If they really don't want it around anymore, you got to figure out a way to neutralize it. And I do worry though, because there's not too many other plays where people get to push or like jumping over someone's back. Like I think there's other rules that are in question as well. So we'll see. But we're moving into the 4th round here. I mean, I think Aiden did grab Jalen Hurts here, but Joe Burrow, round 3, Kenneth Walker, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Devontae Adams, Terry McLaurin. I have some questions on some of these older guys. I love Edwin's Jackson Smith-Njigba pick here. I think he's in for a great year. Wide receiver 9 last year, and we saw him really blossom and be the leading receiver for this team. I think Sam Darnold's going to target the hell out of JSN. Not sure what's going on with Rashee Rice. He's not a guy that I'm super excited about for 2025. He's coming off a bad knee injury, and I don't know what's going on with the suspension risk. Maybe that gets pushed to 2026, if you guys remember. So I need more information on Rashee Rice. It's only May 21st, so hopefully we get some news on that this summer. But for now, I don't find myself clicking on a lot of Rashee Rice. I like the Chase Brown pick. He didn't get a lot of competition added via the draft. I think Breece Hall's fine for 4th round this year. Hampton to Aiden down here. And then Marvin Harrison Jr., man. Did you see how freaking yoked up he looks? He looks fun. But we're up to pick. They're going to give me George Kittle here in the 4th round. I'm going to see what my guy Oscar does here, but I'm going to take George Kittle to be my tight end 1. George Kittle is just good, dude. Like I feel really good having George Kittle in my tight end spot this year. He was outstanding last year. We missed on Xavier Worthy, which would have been nice. Yeah, and those pictures from his I watched that press conference, and man, he looks beefed up, and I like to see that. Hopefully they can get him more involved and more consistent this season. But I'm in the 5th round here. I want to like DK Metcalf. I am like 90% sure it's going to be Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball. So we're going to take a chance here on a guy that is the team's number one wide receiver. He should be able to get 4 or 5 catches per game. You're probably going to get some of these numbers that don't look as nice, but as my wide receiver 2, I think I'm fine leaving him in there every game and hoping he could hit some double-digit touchdowns. We know Rodgers will just pummel his wide receiver 1 with targets, and I think DK Metcalf is a guy that can have massive games. I was looking at RJ Harvey, who Tony picked there. I actually just picked up I took RJ Harvey in my rookie draft that I had just this past Sunday, and I feel pretty good about RJ Harvey and his outlook for this season. I think he's one of the more exciting rookie running backs this year. I think he could probably outproduce Amari and Hampton. I think RJ Harvey's going to get a little bit more workload than Hampton. Hampton, I'm a little concerned about what Najee Harris is going to get. If they do decide to give Najee the goal line touchdowns, that's going to hurt Hampton. But Hampton will get a ton of receiving opportunities. So I like Hampton from a PPR perspective for sure. Chuba, I think the Panthers are in for an interesting year. They did bring in Rico Dowdle, so I'm not quite sure Chuba is going to be the workhorse guy that we've seen the last couple of years. And then with Quinshon Judkins, I do like Judkins, but I worry about his PPR upside. And again, just being for Judkins, you need him to be a volume runner, and it's just not lining up this season for him to get that 20 touches that you need for him to get his 100 yards and a touchdown. So I think you're going to be a little frustrated with Judkins in year 1. He's going to be a little inconsistent. I think Aiden grabbed Kamara here around 5. I can't hate Kamara. He continues to be productive. I really like Zay Flowers here in the 5th round. He was a fantastic wide receiver last year. He did miss a game or two. No, he did not miss a game all year. He tends to disappear in the Ravens offense every now and then, but he was a very much improved player in year 2. Hawkinson, Devonta Smith, good clicks. George Pickens, we'll see. I like George Pickens, but probably not in round 5. I think the blow-up spot there could be kind of fun, though. And then Montgomery, Jalen Waddle. I just got done projecting the Dolphins. When I was waiting for the lobby to open up, I was working on my Dolphins projections, and I have Waddle projected more than Tyreek Hill, but the emergence of Jonnu Smith, man, makes me a little bit nervous because I had to move a lot of numbers to 3 different players, Tyreek, Waddle, and Jonnu Smith, as well as Devon Achane. So there's a lot of guys catching passes there this time. Not sure about DeAndre Swift. I always try to fade Cortland Sutton. I don't know what it is. But I think Sam Laporta, if you want one of the best, cheapest options at tight end, you kind of wait for that Kittle Hawkinson tier. But round 6, I think collecting Sam Laporta is a pretty good backup plan. So I'm going to probably wait to evaluate tight end until the 5th round, see what happens, and go from there. And Aiden just can't help himself. He grabs his Travis Hunter. And I'm all in on the Jags this year, man. I'm excited about that offense. But the board's coming to me here, end of round 6. I like some of the names on this list. Jameson Williams, maybe. I don't know if I see a tight end. Well, we already have a tight end. I don't know if I'm seeing any running backs here. I wouldn't mind an RB3. I think Caleb and Travion are interesting guys. I still think Ramondre is going to be involved in New England, so I'm probably going to play it cool here on the running backs because there's a lot of guys here. I have Bijan and Taylor. I think I'm okay to wait a little bit. Some of these wide receivers interest me though, but let's take a peek at the QBs. Baker, Nix, Purdy, Kyler. Interesting. So I don't love this board for me. End of round 6. I could take Jerry Jeudy. I'm not a big Jerry Jeudy fan, but he did ball out at the end of last year. It looked like a wide receiver 1 for the team. I think I don't have a Lion. I'm kind of interested in maybe plugging in Jameson Williams, who actually looked pretty consistent towards the end of last year. Big play guy. I'm going to lock in Jameson Williams here to be my flex. So we got some big players, big games here from DK and Jameson. If one of those guys can pop off every week, we're in good shape. And this is interesting. I've been kind of keeping tabs on that. I think I was watching their practices the other day. But man, if we're getting 80 to 90% snap share for Travis Hunter at the wide receiver position, man, he should be a 4th round pick, easily 3rd or 4th round pick. But we're back up to pick here. I don't know what to do. It's kind of telling me to keep taking wide receiver here at the top of the board. Running backs are kind of dipping down here. We're kind of punting at the QB spot. I think I think getting Chris Olave makes sense. I know he's been injured with concussions in the past, but he's probably the best talent receiver at this point of the draft. And we're getting a discount on a really good player. I know he's had the concussions. I know it's Tyler Shuck and Spencer Rattler, but we've seen good receivers play pretty well with bad quarterbacks. Look at Malik Neighbors last year. I don't think Olave is Malik Neighbors, but I do think just collecting a team's wide receiver one, a young player that we like a lot. You know, if he didn't have the concussion last year to end the season, I think we'd all be looking at Olave a little bit differently. And you know, before that, he did have a couple bad games, but he also had some really nice games: 8 for 87, 6 for 86, 4 for 81, 8 for 107. I think if we do get Tyler Shuck starting, Olave is going to be targeted very early and often. So Isaiah Pacheco is an interesting one by Tony here. I want to buy into Pacheco. Last year, he started off the season great. Like these numbers, man, if we would have kept these up, these 2 to 5 catches, 15 to 20 carries, like he was going to be a top 10 running back, man. And that would have been really exciting. He would have been a second round pick this year if he stayed healthy. And then when he got back, he wasn't all the way back. Kareem Hunt was kind of entrenched into the offense. So I think you're getting a little bit of a discount here on the Chiefs RB1. And I think Pacheco, you know, back in this round 7 range, man, like we're talking about a lot of guys that could be hit or miss, but Pacheco excites me back here. I think Addison is interesting. And, you know, he's a boom bust nature guy as well. He kind of fits in that Jameson Williams tier where, you know, every week he can get you 20, 30 points. Some games he can only get 1 or 2 catches. But as your flex, you're pretty happy with Jordan Addison being in there. TreVeyon Henderson, I don't know what you guys think about that split. I think TreVeyon and Ramondre Stevenson, I think they're both going to be involved a lot in that offense, man. I'm pretty excited about what the Patriots can do with Drake May, Henderson, Ramondre, and now they got this big group of receivers with Diggs, Kyle Williams. I think Kayshon Boutte's interesting. I think Demario Douglas is fine. And then they got the 2 veteran tight ends. So not quite sure how this split's going to work for the running backs here. I think Jaylen Warren could be the lead back here too for the Steelers, man. I don't know if Caleb Johnson's going to get a lot of receiving work, but I still like Jaylen Warren in a PPR setting. And then Javonte Williams, man. He's on a 1-year kind of prove-it deal with the Cowboys. I think he's a really cheap way at, you know, week 1 or 2, we could find out that, hey, man, we got Javonte Williams getting 20 touches, 80 to 100 yards per game and a chance at a touchdown. He just might end up being the lead back here. And Rico Dowdle looked good last year down the stretch. When they finally committed to giving him the ball, like he was a top 15 running back in fantasy. And we're going to slot Javonte Williams in there. He's got a little bit of competition from Jaden Blue, not worried about Miles Sanders. So I like the Javonte click. And then I think the Giants backfield with Tyrone Tracy. And then we'll see about Cam Scatterbo. I might add him to the bench. You know, with my roster construction, we have Bijan and Jonathan Taylor. So we're going to be looking for some, you know, I kind of like this because I'm locked into those 2 guys. And as long as they're healthy, they're going to stay there. But I'm going to want some guys that could potentially get more work as the season goes on. Aiden grabs his Travis Etienne. I don't know what to make of the Jags backfield. That's a tough one for me. I'm not 100% sure what's going on there. But we're up to pick. I don't have a tight end yet. I don't find myself liking Cooper Kupp, Stephon Diggs. I think Juwan Jennings is interesting. I kind of want to click on Cam Scatterbo because he might be better than Tyrone Tracy. We don't know. His ADP is 90. So I'll take a chance on Scatterbo. And we'll see what Oscar does here. But I'm kind of lining up another flex player. I don't have a quarterback yet. Purdy, Caleb, like these are all good quarterbacks, man. Like, did Drake May go yet? All right, who grabbed Drake May? Where's my guy? Did someone grab Drake May? Oh, we have the board now. Did I just miss Drake May? All right, well, we're up to pick. Oh, he's right there, 125. All these quarterbacks still on the board. I think I'm going to wait and continue to build out my depth chart. Again, I don't really trust. I'm gonna go Brock Purdy. We're gonna grab a quarterback here. Just got paid. He was QB 13 last year. A lot of that was without Christian McCaffrey, and I am nervous about Christian McCaffrey. But man, if CMC's back and you're telling me Brock Purdy's floor is or quarterback 13, like we could be looking at a guy that could be putting up, those 20 points per game again. And we feel pretty good about what we have in Brock Purdy. So I kind of get the stack with Purdy, George Kittle. I kind of wanted to wait on quarterback here, but I do like Brock Purdy and what he offers. And he ran the ball a lot more than I thought last year. Let me see what Aiden's saying here. I want whoever the pass catcher is. Cohen had the highest screen rate in football. Both White and Bucky are pass catchers, and Tank does not catch passes, but I don't mind putting Tank on my bench, being my RB4. And I think there's a chance that ETN has a little bit of resurgence this year. But I find myself pretty excited about Bashal Tutin. The only issue with Tutin is the fumbles, and I guess he fumbled the first day in practices there. But I'm probably going to end up with a lot of Tutin on my benches and in best ball. And I think for best ball too, I'm probably going to end up with a lot of Bigsby, just because, when he does have big games, man, like 16, 29, 15, 12, like when he gets going and he can get those touchdowns, he's kind of an exciting player. But I do think ETN's got something there, and potentially being a Jalen Warren plus type role. But they're going to use a lot of backs there. So we'll see what happens. But we're moving into the double-digit rounds. Let me just look at round 9 here. Not really interested in Stephon Diggs. Again, I highlighted Brock Purdy. I think Ricky Pearsall is a nice pick there by Tony, a guy that you can put on your bench and see what happens. He might be the leading receiver for the 49ers this year. I think Jawan Jennings is fine, but I don't know if Ayuk is going to be 100% this year. It's his first year back with that knee injury. Brock, I kind of like Evan Ingram. I think Evan Ingram is going to have a ton of fun with Bo Nix being his quarterback, because Bo Nix he's a dink and dunker. He's going to just unload a lot of these 5 to 6 yard passes to Evan Ingram. And I think Evan Ingram leads the Broncos in receptions this year. You got Cooper Kupp. Aiden does grab Bashal Tutin. So that's a smart way to do it. He pairs ETN and Tutin and says, hey, I might have a running back too here. And yeah, I think that's a smart way to do it, Aiden. And not a bad idea. You're putting 2 picks into a role, but if that role hits, like you got a starting RB2 role there. Keon Coleman, I think we're done with Keon Coleman. I like Jaden Reed. This late is pretty good. I think Jonnu Smith's a good tight end pick. I don't find myself clicking on a lot of Ibuka. I think Loveland's interesting back here. Not sure about Leggett. I do think Austin Eckler's got a little bit of something here. You can put him on your bench and hope for a couple big games, man. He was double digits more often than not last year. And I think just that's a good offense to be involved in. Justin Fields, a good pull. Najee, Caleb, and Aiden grabs Christian Kirk, which I think could be in for a nice bounce back here with the Texans. And then Tony does grab Brandon Ayuk. I'm on the board here. Man, I think I got 4 receivers that I feel pretty good about. I'm gonna grab Tank Bigsby just because I think he's gonna lead the team in carries and get the touchdowns like we were just talking about. And I didn't have a Jag yet, so we get him as my RB4. Maybe we see something from Scatabo, but there is one more running back in this range that I want to look at and that I'm pretty excited about. We'll see what Oscar does here. He grabs Rachaad White, which I'm a little bit nervous about Rachaad White. I think we could be just looking at the Bucky Irving show this year and then Marvin Mims there. I'm going to grab Jaden Blue, the rookie running back here for Dallas. A little bit small, a little bit underweight. He's just under 200 pounds, but he's compact. And I think he looks bigger than his weight. But he was the fastest running back at the combine. He is the explosive playmaker that the Cowboys have been looking for at the running back position. I'm thinking he might be kind of their version of Tony Pollard if they just give him some time. I know he's going to look more explosive than Miles Sanders. I'm pretty sure he's going to be more explosive looking than Javonte Williams. And there's a chance that Jaden Blue could lead the Cowboys in all rushing statistics this year. So excited what he can do. I know Javonte's a good receiving back, but I think there's room for Jaden Blue to get touches in this offense, whether it's 7, 8, 9 carries or maybe he just ends up being the guy. So I think putting him on my bench and seeing what I got is fine. Tony grabbed Jack Besh, could be the Raiders' leading receiver after Brock Bowers. And then Aiden grabs Trey Benson. And this is a guy that I thought looked pretty good on a small sample last year, 4.6 yards per carry. He looked good on his receptions. And James Conner's got to be almost 30 years old by now. James Conner. He just turned 30 in May here. So James Conner, if he misses time, man, you're starting Trey Benson in your lineup. I'm not sure how many receptions Benson's got if Conner's out, but I do think Benson's worth putting on your bench. I may or may not grab a QB2. Brock Purdy's bye is week 14, so I think I'm just comfortable locking in Brock Purdy. I believe the 49ers have a pretty nice schedule this year, so I'm not overly worried. Do they have the schedules listed on here yet? They do not. And yeah, Conner always seems to miss a few games. He held up well last year, but Trey Benson's one of those lottery ticket backs where, man, if Conner's out, we're all looking to either find Trey Benson on our waiver wire or we're plugging him right into our starting lineup. So that's a very, very good pick. I also like this Jordan Mason pick back here. I mean, we're talking, 13th, 14th round, whatever. But if Aaron Jones, who's up there in age as well, if Aaron Jones misses time, we know Jordan Mason can tote the rock and be a volume player. He was a really good back for the first 4 games. Doesn't catch a lot of passes, but we know he's a good volume runner, a guy that can be plugged right in as your RB2. I'm on the board here. They're letting me get Jordan Love this late. I think the Packers are in for a bounce back with more passing and more upside here. I don't know if I need to draft a quarterback 2, though. Not really loving some of these wide receiver options here. I'm going to take a chance here on Rashad Bateman. I did not have a Raven yet, but down the stretch, man, Bateman had some pretty big games, 5 for 76 and a touchdown in the year. He caught a lot of touchdowns, man, especially the back half of the year. And 9 touchdowns last year. I kind of see his numbers going up. Just a guy that if I have to put him in my lineup, I feel good about being connected to Lamar Jackson. So can't go wrong there. I was looking at Kyle Williams. I think, Romeo Doubs, Quentin Johnston, Demario Douglas. I kind of have a thing for Josh Palmer. I don't know what it is. I think he's a quality receiver. I don't think he's bad. I think he's a quality starting, number 3 receiver for an NFL offense. And we're going to put him with Josh Allen and see what happens. That kind of excites me. And yeah, I don't think Mark Andrews is dead yet. I actually just traded for Mark Andrews in a dynasty league, and I think I got him for pretty damn cheap. I usually don't like to handcuff my dudes here, but fine. I'll take Tyler Algier because if Bijan does miss time, we're all plugging in Tyler Algier to our starting lineup. So I'm done taking running back. I got Bijan, Jonathan Taylor as my 1 and 2. My bench guys, we're going to see what happens here. We got Scatabo, Bigsby, Jaden Blue, and Tyler Algier. But more on Mark Andrews, man. I don't know. Is his contract up after this year? I think it is. Yeah, so this is his last year under contract. I think, for me, I think he's still got a lot of time to play. He's only 28 years old. He turns 29 in September. The shelf life of a tight end, man, they can go into their early 30s. Travis Kelce's still playing at a high mid-30 level age. So I think Mark Andrews does have one more big contract in him yet, 4-year deal for some team, whether he returns to the Ravens or not. I think Andrews is a nice buy low option for you. And it gets you that top 5 upside for not top 5 prices. So I think I'm interested. And where did Mark Andrews go? Who grabbed him? Was that you, Aiden? Yeah, Aiden grabs him round 7. That's a pretty good round for Mark Andrews. And considering a lot of these round 7 picks, man, a lot of these are going to be busts. It's a very boom bust range. So I think Mark Andrews in a contract year, man, might be a good idea. Let's see what happens. But we're down to our final 3 rounds here. Defense kicker, I always save those for last. If I want to, enter some lottery picks in here, we could totally do that. I don't need to grab a tight end. I have George Kittle. I think I'll survive. I do like my guy Brenton Strange, though. This guy should be picked up in all dynasty leagues. When he did get starting opportunities, he was pretty good, and he showed, hey, like 11 for 73. Like he showed he could be a workhorse tight end. So don't sleep on Mr. Strange. With my final pick here, did somebody who grabbed my guy? Oh, Josh Palmer is still on the board. A 14th round breakout. Who we get? Oh my goodness. The year 5 breakout, baby. Let's go. Is it Kyle Pitts' 5th year? Is it the 5th year breakout? It is a 5th year breakout sleeper. And I went and grabbed Josh Palmer, man. I think he has a chance to be a legit weapon for Josh Allen and the Bills this year. But I tell you what, I still don't want to quit Kyle Pitts. When he does get the ball, man, like the numbers are good. He's still averaging a ton of yards per catch, career high in touchdowns last year. Michael Penix throwing the ball. If we can get these targets back up into the 90s, we got something. And he's stayed pretty healthy the last couple of seasons here. So you could do worse for a sleeper, man. It just got really ugly. You know, the season started pretty fine the first 2 months, but it got ugly really quick here for him. So Kyle Pitts, man, put him on your bench. I think I'm completely fine with that. Let's get a defense in here. Who y'all gonna give me? I'll take the Ravens. I haven't done any defensive research yet, but the Ravens finished the season pretty strong. Pretty bad season for the most part, actually, from this defense. They did finish top 10, but it was a pretty rough season for the Ravens for the most part. We were picking on them a lot. And then kicker, I really don't have much to offer here for kickers. We're going to try and get a good offense, preferably indoors. I think Kaimi Fairbairn was one of my dudes last year. Kicker number 4. I do expect the Titans offense to be a little bit better this year with some healthier weapons. So Fairbairn would probably be my guy here if I could have it that way. But we got a lot of picks to survive here. We're probably not going to get Fairbairn, which would be a little disappointing. I thought the Vikings kicker actually did decent. You know, he missed a couple games, but when he was in there, he was mostly getting double digits. So Will Richard, is it Richard? He's kind of an interesting guy. Not sure what to make of the Tyler Loop. We'll see if the rookie can pick up where the Hall of Famer left. I do think Daniel Carlson's one of the best kickers in the league. And if we're getting a little bit better Raiders offense, like I feel pretty good about Dan the Man Carlson. He's helped me win a handful of fantasy championships in the leagues where I have kickers. So I love Daniel Carlson, but hopefully my guy can survive. And Aiden says Cam Little is his guy. Let me just look at Cam Little's numbers. Little was pretty good last year. Didn't get a lot of opportunities. He was perfect on his extra points, though, which is good to see. Only missed 2 field goals all year. We usually like the weather down in Jacksonville. But you're going to give me Kaimi Fairbairn. I'm going to lock in Fairbairn here to be my kicker. And there you have it. My pick number 2 mock draft is in. Quarterback Brock Purdy. I think he's a top 10 quarterback this year. I'm excited about the 49ers offense and their schedule. My running backs are Bijan and Jonathan Taylor on the bench for running back. We're going to see what happens with Scatabo, Tank Bigsby, Jaden Blue, and Tyler Algier, the handcuff. Receivers, a little bit work in progress. We have Ladd McConkey, DK Metcalf, and Jameson Williams to hold the top 3 spots. On the bench, though, we got Chris Olave, Rashad Bateman's there, and Joshua Palmer. I feel good about that group. George Kittle is just our lone tight end. And then we do have Ravens D, Kaimi Fairbairn. So I feel pretty good about that. Let's just take a peek here at Tony's team. Tony ended up with Jordan Love. Love that. Running backs are Saquon and Kieran Williams. So really good 1-2 punch at the running back spot. Receivers, Drake London and Marvin Harrison. I like that duo. He's got Travis Kelce here as his tight end. What do Kelce's numbers look like? I don't know if they're going to load up, but as long as Kelce's out there, man, he's a startable asset. Hopefully we see him continue to play at a high level. And then RJ Harvey's at flex. And I like what what he's done here. He's going to go running back at flex probably most weeks, whether it's Harvey, Pacheco, Brian Robinson, and then he took a shot on 2 49ers receivers, Ricky Pearsall and Brandon Ayuk. That's an interesting way to do it there. Hopefully one of those guys can emerge. He's got his rookie Jack Besh to see what he can do. Blake Corum and Jalen Wright are down there. So I like this. I love the Barkley, Kieran, London, Marvin Harrison core. That's a really fun first 4 picks there. And I like kind of how he's basically saying, my flex, I want it to be a running back. And if it can be a 49er receiver, that will work out. So good stuff there from Tony. And then Aiden ends up with Jalen Hurts. Running backs are Omarion Hampton and Alvin Kamara. So ton of receptions. Top 2 receivers, Malik Neighbors, AJ Brown. Can't argue with that. Mark Andrews plugs in at tight end 1. And then the Jacksonville Jags will be his flex. He's got Travis Hunter, which I think will be able to hold that spot down. Otherwise, Etienne, Bashal Tutin, one of those guys should step up and be hopefully a running back 2 for us. Christian Kirk, I think he's going to be good for CJ, or what's his name? Is it CJ Stroud? Yeah, CJ Stroud slot for the Texans. And then we got some bangers on the bench here at running back. Trey Benson, we'll see about Garendo, Quentin Johnson, and Kyle Pitts here. So I like what Aiden's got going on. Chiefs D, can't complain with Chiefs D. So good drafts from everybody all around. That's going to do it for me, guys. I want to thank you for hanging out with me on this Wednesday evening. I hope you guys had fun. It's May. We're mock drafting, just having a little bit of fun. So nothing too serious. We learned some things. We talked about a bunch of names. Hopefully you guys had some fun tonight. Thank you again. We'll see you next Wednesday evening. Have a good night. Peace. Got me feeling icy.